Hey there, besties. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're continuing our recap of the manhwa, The Cellist. If you're new to this series, check the description below for links to previous episodes. Lastly, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the video. It really helps our channel grow. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. Now tell me your answer, Ji Sehun said, holding Hayeon's shoulders gently. Should we take a walk? She suggested. He nodded, and they began strolling through the well-lit streets, their pace unhurried. My mom was a bit pushy with her questions earlier, wasn't she? You need to understand, she just has high expectations for me. She doesn't mean any harm, Hayeon explained. It doesn't matter, Ji Sehun replied, his tone steady. You're surprising me today with all these new sides of yourself, she said, glancing at him. She recalled his words to her mother earlier. I will win her back if she ever breaks up with me. I'm not sure how to respond, she admitted. I didn't know that's what you were thinking. She resumed walking, her thoughts clouded. I didn't want to live in your shadow, Sehun. I didn't want to hear things I didn't deserve, either. I wanted to make something of myself, to show you I could succeed on my own. But with you by my side, I feel like I'll never reach that goal, Hayeon thought silently. She spoke softly. I know what you meant by offering me the manager position. Her gaze dropped as she slowed her steps. Ji Sehun turned toward her, stopping her completely. She backed into a nearby wall as he leaned in, placing his hands against the wall to frame her. Wait, he said, a small smile on his face. I've wanted to do this all day. He leaned in and kissed her briefly, pulling away after a moment. Did you mean what you said? Hayeon asked, her voice almost a whisper. That I'm someone you want by your side, without any selfish motives. Her cheeks flushed. Ji Sehun bit his lip, his own face tinged with color. How could I not have selfish motives? He replied with a quiet laugh. Of course, there's Hyungsik, and Ms. Lee is professional too, Hayeon added, trying to stifle a laugh. But I need you, Ji Sehun said, his tone turning serious. I want to be with you, not as part of some business arrangement, but in a real, romantic relationship. Why separate the two? Hayeon hesitated. Following you would mean. She paused. I haven't accomplished anything on my own yet. I need to prove something to myself before I can stand next to you with confidence. That's right in front of you, Ji Sehun said earnestly. You've already achieved something. You have me. You've managed me, cared for me, and understood me in ways no one else ever could. He stepped closer, brushing a kiss against her cheek. Who else could control me like you do? Who else makes me feel this way? You're the only one. And you know that I can't do this without you, he said, his voice steady yet vulnerable. Hayeon looked at him closely, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. Slowly, she reached out, her hand resting lightly on the back of his neck. Do you know why I agreed to your business proposal in the beginning? Hayeon asked, her voice steady but her cheeks slightly flushed. It's because you told me you couldn't perform. On that first day, when I met you, I was checking the concert tickets, and I saw the audience's faces. They were all so eager to hear you play. Don't you think it's cowardly? If you tell me you can't play because of me, then I'm letting all those people down. Ji Sehun's expression softened. That's why you need to come with me, he said simply. Fine, she replied, her voice quiet but firm. Without warning, Ji Sehun hugged her tightly. You're really mean, you know that? You left me no options, she said as he let her go. To make it up to you, I'll perform for you, he said softly. You can have my fingers. They belong to you now. All of them, she asked, a small smile breaking through. Yes. Always perform with that in mind from now on, he said, watching her smile grow. I'll support you, she said gently. You'll be my greatest achievement. What are the employment conditions? Hayeon asked, tilting her head. Whatever you want, he replied. And the duration of the contract? Forever, he said without hesitation. It sounds like a proposal, she said, her tone teasing. It's something like that, he replied with a warm smile. And free time? Can you guarantee that? As long as you don't use it right now, he said, chuckling. The next morning, Hayeon sat in a cafe with her friend Gina, who looked completely stunned. What? You and Ji Sehun? Gina exclaimed, almost too loudly. Keep your voice down, Hayeon whispered, glancing around nervously. You two are dating, and you're moving overseas with him? Gina asked, clearly bewildered. It's for work, Hayeon said, looking tense. What do you mean? You're dating, though. You even said he met your mother, Gina pressed. He wants me as his manager. He knew my mom wouldn't allow it, so he came to convince her himself, Hayeon explained. Yeah, but why did he have to convince her by showing up in person? Did you tell him she wasn't going to approve? Well, no, but... Hayeon trailed off. He did that on purpose. To establish himself in front of your mother. He brought her gifts too, didn't he? What else could that mean other than trying to win her approval? He could do that either way. He's wealthy, like I said, Hayeon defended. Are you serious? And he chose to use that wealth on your mother. Most people avoid meeting the parents when they're still just dating. They only do that when they're serious. But you two just started dating, and he's already done this? That's not normal, Gina said, throwing her hands up in disbelief. Is it not? Hayeon asked, her tension growing. If he really wanted to convince my mom, Ms. Lee would have been a better option, she thought. You said he gave your mom a credit card too? Gina asked. Yeah, she really liked that, Hayeon admitted. He used all the tricks in the book, Gina sighed, sipping her drink. Maybe he thought it was best to do it himself since he really wanted to take me with him, Hayeon explained. That doesn't add up, Gina muttered, shaking her head. He was extremely polite and sweet to my mom, Hayeon said, a smile tugging at her lips. How could the Ji Sehun I know be dating my friend? Gina thought, watching her smile. Just then, Hayeon's phone rang. 1 second, she said, glancing at the screen. Gina caught sight of the contact name, My Sehun. My Sehun. Gina thought, stunned. Is that Sehun the one I know? It's just the same name, right? Gina asked, stunned. Hayeon held back a laugh as she picked up the call. Hi, Sehun, she said. When are you done there? He asked. I've barely been sitting here for half an hour, she replied. I know. That's why I'm asking, he said. I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen her in a while, so I'm thinking of staying for another hour or two, she said softly, thinking, if I want to secure my free time, he'll have to get used to waiting for me, she thought. Well then, let me see you for a moment, he said. Tilting her head, Hayeon gazed at the glass window and spotted him standing outside the cafe. You can see me? She asked, her voice betraying her surprise. Gina turned to look as well. You look nice, Sehun said. It's because I'm looking at you, she replied, walking toward the window while still on the phone. Come out for a second, he said. I can't. I'm with my friend. Can't you see, she said. It'll only take a second, he insisted. But I'd have to tell my friend to wait, she countered. I want to kiss you. Tell her you're going to the bathroom, he said, his words making her cheeks flush. She stayed silent, flustered. Should I come in? He asked, adjusting his glasses. Nope. Bye, she said quickly, cutting the call abruptly. She returned to her seat, looking a little tense. What was that all about? Is that Ji Sehun over there? Gina asked. Oh, well, he said he was just going to drop me off, but he's still waiting outside, Hayeon replied as she sat down. So, you're telling me Ji Sehun is here right now, waiting for you outside? The Ji Sehun? He's waiting for you. Gina asked, confused. Don't worry about it. Should we get something more to eat? It's on me. You want some bread? Hayeon said quickly, trying to change the topic. No, I don't feel like eating anything right now. He's really changed since meeting you, Gina said, giving her a curious look. What do you mean? Hayeon asked, her face flushing as she smiled. Sure, this is proper revenge. It'll make her writhe with jealousy every time she thinks of you. Don't worry about that jerk. Just go do your thing in Germany. You get to work on your career and your love life, Gina said, referring to Lee Eugen's past incident. I hadn't thought of that in a while anyway. The lawsuit is in progress, but I won't be able to show up for it, Hayeon explained. Gina seemed distracted, her gaze fixed on the glass. Oh my. Just leave. He's still looking at you, she said, sounding tense. It's fine, really, Hayeon defended. He's an important person who might be performing again at our hall. He already saw me. I really don't want him to hate me. You're going to visit Korea while you're in Germany, right? Gina asked. I can't say for sure. I'll have to see how things go, Hayeon replied. If I ever visit there, will I have a place to stay? Gina asked, smiling. Of course. You can come anytime. I'll get you a nice hotel, even if I have to pay for it myself, Hayeon said, smiling as she held Gina's hand affectionately. Gina, thank you so much. If it weren't for you, none of this would have been possible. Don't worry about it. Just stay safe and healthy, Gina said. I will, Hayeon replied. Don't forget to get me some nice stuff from over there too, okay? Gina added. Okay, just let me know, Hayeon said. At least I got to see you before you left. Go on, then. If you stay any longer, he's going to burn this place down with his laser eyes, Gina whispered, glancing at Sehun's serious gaze outside. I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable, Hayeon apologized with a sigh. I'll be fine, Gina said. I guess I'll get going then, Gina, Hayeon said. Yeah, go on, Gina replied. So naive, Gina thought, sighing as Hayeon stood up and headed out. Can I make a prediction? Gina said, causing Hayeon to pause mid-step and glance back at her. You're going to send me a wedding invitation within 2 years, Gina added with a teasing smile. Huh. Hayeon replied, looking unsure. Outside, she crossed the street toward Ji Sehun. You being here made Gina, she began, her tone serious, but Ji Sehun cut her off. He rushed forward, pulling her into his arms and kissing her without hesitation. When he broke the kiss, he whispered, just tell her I came here for you, before resuming the kiss. Caught off guard, Hayeon's cheeks flushed as she lightly beat his chest and managed to pull herself free. What are you doing? People can see us on the street, she protested, glancing around nervously. What did you two talk about? Ji Sehun asked, his hands still on her waist as he gently slid her closer. Hey, she exclaimed, looking away as her shyness took over. Just stay like this for a moment, Ji Sehun said softly. Let's not do this here. We can go back home now, she replied, trying to regain her composure. Only if you tell me what you two talked about, he insisted, holding her in a snug hug, which made her cheeks flush even more. It was nothing special, she said reluctantly. I told her we're dating, and I said my goodbyes since I'm leaving. And, he pressed, his tone curious. She seemed surprised. She probably hadn't expected us to get together, Hayeon explained. Why not? Can't we be together? He asked, pulling her closer, his gaze soft yet intense. That's not what I meant, she said, flustered. Hayeon paused briefly, her face now glowing as brightly as her red cheeks. Finally, she looked up at him and smiled. Sehun, do you still not want to go home? She asked playfully. Her words caught him off guard, and his cheeks turned slightly pink in response. Ji Sehun remained quiet as Hayeon gently slid her hand across his back. Are we just going to stay standing here? Aren't you leaving? She asked softly, her cheeks flushed. I will, he murmured, his own cheeks turning red. Oh, really? She teased, playfully running her finger along his chest. He hugged her tighter, but his body betrayed him, and he quickly let her go. Hayeon, he said, stepping back. Yes, she replied, their eyes meeting. That was smooth, he remarked with a slight smirk. Let's go home now, she said, brushing past him toward the car. But he blocked her path. Not home. Just somewhere no one can see us, he said, cupping her face with his hands. Where are you thinking? She asked warily. He opened the back door of the car, catching her off guard. No, not in the car, she protested, taking a step back. Yes, he insisted, gently guiding her to sit inside. Wait until we get home, she objected, her voice softer now. After we start a little here, he said. Wait, she said again, her voice trembling, before they surrendered to the moment. Later that evening, at home, Hayeon sat with Hyungsik in the living room. The company sorted out all the visa issues, and they've already sent your luggage ahead, Hyungsik said, placing a pile of books on classical music in front of her. Oh, and here are the books you requested. Thank you so much, Hyungsik, she replied with a soft smile. You're really working hard, aren't you? Don't overdo it, or you'll burn out before you even get there, he advised warmly. I won't. I've started too late already, so I have to work even harder, she replied, flipping through one of the books. I'm so glad Sehun has you, he said suddenly, his gaze thoughtful. What? Hayeon asked, startled. His good luck charm, his manager. Now I can finally share the workload with someone else, Hyungsik explained. Of course, she said with a polite smile. She said of course. Hyungsik thought to himself, his eyes glistening with relief. This is perfect. Sehun's always so sensitive when he has to travel, and the pressure was overwhelming. But now, Hayeon is here to support me. Hayeon, meanwhile, had put on an earphone. Oh, I know this piece, she said suddenly, her tone brightening. What is it? Hyungsik asked curiously. She handed him one earphone. Here, listen. Hyungsik moved closer, sitting beside her as they listened to the music together. Suddenly, Ji Sehun appeared behind them, his presence cold and commanding. What are you doing? He asked sharply, startling Hyungsik so much that he practically jumped out of his seat. Sehun. Hyungsik stammered, looking flustered as he quickly retreated. Ji Sehun said nothing, picking up the earphone and placing it in his ear as he settled next to Hayeon. Beethoven, Ji Sehun said, breaking the silence. Beethoven? I know him pretty well. It's that guy, Hayeon replied with a grin. Oh? Like, personally? Ji Sehun thought to himself, amused as he watched her hum along to the music. A soft smile crept onto his face. So cute. Romance, he told her. Romance for violin and orchestra no. 1, Opus 40. Don't tell me. I wanted to guess it myself, she protested, pouting. Ji Sehun pulled the earphone out and leaned in, capturing her lips in a gentle kiss. He broke the kiss abruptly and walked toward the kitchen. Next time, stop me, he said over his shoulder, leaving her flushed and stunned. Hyungsik, sitting across the room, chuckled awkwardly. I'm still not used to this side of him, he said, his cheeks slightly red. Sorry about that, Hayeon said, trying to hide her own embarrassment. You shouldn't be. Oh, by the way, is there anything else you need to buy before you leave? Hyungsik asked. There is. Oh, I'll need pajamas, she replied casually. Pajamas? Ji Sehun's voice echoed from the kitchen. Yeah. I assume they'll be more expensive there. So I thought I'd buy a few sets before we leave, she explained, glancing toward his direction. Ji Sehun returned to the room in a rush. I'll buy them for you, he said, taking her hands quickly. Okay. We can go do that, she said, her tone tense. Let's go now, he insisted. Now? She asked, looking flustered. Sure. You only have 2 days left until you leave. You might as well buy everything you need now. I'll drive you there. Let's go, Hyungsik said, standing up. Dude. Can't you read the room? Ji Sehun snapped, pulling Hayeon closer. I think I can now. Drive carefully, lovebirds. Hyungsik called out with a grin, waving them off. Inside, though, he felt a tinge of sadness at being left behind. At the mall, Ji Sehun led Hayeon into a boutique. Pick whatever you want, he told her. Hayeon remained silent, her gaze wandering to the lingerie displays around them. Should I pick something for you? Ji Sehun teased. Welcome. Is there anything in particular you're looking for? An attendant asked, approaching them with a professional smile. A slip, Ji Sehun replied confidently, causing Hayeon to freeze, her face flushed. What? No. I'm looking for pajamas, just something normal, she said quickly, trying to stay composed. As she spoke, her eyes caught the display of revealing lingerie around the shop. Her cheeks burned. What's up with all these designs? He brought me here on purpose, didn't he? She shot him a sharp look, watching as he casually browsed through the slip collection. I'll be uncomfortable if I wear that to bed. Comfort is all that matters for a good sleep. Let's go look somewhere else, she said firmly, grabbing his hand and heading for the door. Really? Then buy something comfortable, too, he said calmly, letting her pull him along. The attendant observed them with an amused smile. Looks like he's the one paying. Our slips are right this way, she offered, gesturing to another section of the shop. Oh, nice, Ji Sehun said, pausing to admire an even more revealing slip on display. How does anyone wear something like that? Hayeon thought, her face burning. Ji Sehun glanced at the slip briefly before turning his attention back to her, clearly imagining her in it. Let's just go, she said, her voice flustered. You'd look really good in this, he said softly, his own face slightly flushed. You need a certain body type to pull that off. I don't think I have the body for that. I'll pass, Hayeon said, forcing a smile as Ji Sehun stared at the slip in his hands. You'll pull it off just fine, he reassured her. Are you two together? The attendant asked, her curious tone breaking their moment. Huh? Ah, yes, Hayeon stammered, her face turning a bright shade of red. Do we look like a couple? She wondered, glancing at Ji Sehun, who remained calm. You guys look good together. It's rare to see couples come in here together, the attendant continued with a warm smile. It can be refreshing to wear something like this once in a while. It's not for everyday wear, but it can add a spark to a healthy relationship. You really think so? Hayeon asked, trying to sound calm despite her nerves. Yes, of course. Even women in their 40s come here for these, the attendant said enthusiastically. She suddenly grabbed a slip and held it up against Hayeon. Oh, just one moment. How about this one? You want me to get this one? Hayeon asked, still trying to process the situation. Yes, Ji Sehun said softly, his face slightly flushed. That's part of a special couples set that just came in, the attendant added, holding up a matching men's piece. Hayeon stifled a laugh at the thought of Ji Sehun in matching attire. Oh. Thank you, she said, her face warming again. Take your time looking around, the attendant said, checking the men's size. Looks like you can pull this off, too. I guess it is fun to look at, Hayeon said, turning to Ji Sehun, who was watching her intently. Do you think you can wear this? She asked, slightly tense. Sure, he replied confidently, stunning her. Let's both wear these, he added, his smile playful yet calm. That's not what I was hoping for, she thought, feeling the heat rise to her cheeks. She said it's a couple's set. Let's both wear it, he repeated, holding her hand lightly. Don't you think we bought a bit too much? Especially since these aren't for everyday wear, Hayeon said, eyeing the pile of slips they were placing on the counter. We'll be there for a long time, Ji Sehun replied simply, quieting her concerns. Do you have this in the men's version? He asked, pointing to a particularly elegant slip. That one? No, we don't. It's only available for women, but we do have a silk gown in the men's section, the attendant offered, her tone slightly regretful. I think I'd really like it if Hayeon got excited to pick out something for me, Ji Sehun thought, watching her reach out to the displays. He gently adjusted a strand of her hair that had fallen loose. We'll take these, he finally said, finalizing the purchase. I'll carry it, Hayeon offered as they prepared to leave. It's fine, he said, taking all the bags before she could argue further. I'm trying to help as your manager, she explained as they walked. We're leaving in just a few days. You shouldn't use your hands so much. Just be my girlfriend right now, Ji Sehun said, his tone soft but firm. We've got everything now, right? He asked, glancing at her. We'll see. No, let's go home now, she replied with a sigh. I have to get back to studying. I don't have time for all this. Hold it, a loud voice called from behind. Hayeon and Ji Sehun turned to see a woman flanked by two guards approaching them. You won't even say hello, the woman asked, her eyes fixed on Ji Sehun. He remained quiet for a moment before resting his hand gently on Hayeon's shoulder. Let's go, he said firmly. Oh, okay, Hayeon replied, resuming their walk. Get him over here, the woman ordered sharply. Yes, ma'am, the guards responded, swiftly intercepting their path. Come with us, one of the guards commanded Ji Sehun. It's this way. Ji Sehun's expression darkened into a frown as Hayeon let go of his hand. Excuse me, she said sharply, stepping forward. You'll have to explain what's going on before asking us to follow you. This is entirely disrespectful. Do you even know who this artist is? The guards exchanged confused glances. You just need to come with us, one of them replied, his tone uncertain. We need a reason, Hayeon snapped. My artist does not have the free time to follow strangers who won't even explain their intentions. If you have nothing to say, we'll be on our way. And if you keep up this aggressive behavior, we will call security. Her voice was firm and unwavering, leaving the guards momentarily speechless. Ji Sehun. Come with me, the woman interjected calmly before turning on her heel and walking away. The guards hesitated for a moment before dashing after her. One turned back briefly, saying, It'll just be a moment, before hurrying to catch up. Ji Sehun stood silently for a beat, then reached for Hayeon's hand, gripping it tightly as they followed. They were led into a room where the woman gestured for them to sit. Sit, she said, her lips curling into a smile. Ji Sehun and Hayeon sat down carefully, their hands still clasped together. Let go of my hand, Hayeon whispered, embarrassed. But Ji Sehun's grip only tightened. He glanced at the woman sitting across from them. Why are you looking at your mother that way? The woman asked, raising an eyebrow. I have my reasons, Ji Sehun replied coolly, turning his gaze away. Mother? Hayeon thought, nearly choking on her own surprise. Oh. Sehun's mother? I had no idea. She quickly retracted her hand, bowing politely. It's nice to meet you, Mom. Sehun's mother? I like the sound of that, the woman said, her smile widening. She turned her piercing gaze toward Hayeon. Say that again, will you? Hayeon's cheeks flushed as she fumbled for words. Her eyes, her face, even her demeanor. It all looks like Sehun, she thought nervously. Sehun's mother, Hayeon repeated, her voice trembling slightly. I'm long overdue for a proper introduction. I am Sehun's manager, Kim Hayeon, she added, bowing once more. Park Seona, the woman introduced herself, her tone effortlessly commanding. Sehun's mother. Sit down, Ji Sehun suddenly said, cutting through the tension. Before Hayeon could respond, he yanked her up and lifted her onto his lap. She froze, her face burning with embarrassment. Park Seona watched them calmly. Hayeon quickly stepped away from Ji Sehun's lap, her face flushed but striving to compose herself as she sat properly. Sit properly, she said to Ji Sehun. He slid his legs closer. I apologize for not recognizing you earlier, she said calmly to his mother. I didn't know managers went with their artists to buy underwear. Women's underwear, no less, she added, pointing to the bags beside Ji Sehun. Hayeon hurriedly retrieved the bags, placing them under her seat looking flushed. Oh, about that. We're dating, Ji Sehun said, startling her. Dating? His mother asked. I'm sorry, Hayeon said, her head bowed in tension. What are you doing? Ji Sehun asked her, looking perplexed. This is the woman I care about, he replied. That's all you need to know, he added to his mother. Hayeon thought, there's no way she's going to be satisfied with me. She's not going to offer me money to break up with him like they do in soap operas. It's only been a few days since we finally made it official, but we are in love, and it's a serious relationship. Her gaze was sad as she looked away. Although I'm sure you won't like me, she thought. I like you, Park Seona said, smiling. What? Hayeon asked, looking surprised. I'm glad you're dating, his mother replied calmly. Cello was all he liked until now. Park Seona even mentioned they have rings together. Come over to the house later, she told Hayeon. I'm sorry. Hayeon replied, almost stuttering. Oh, okay, Hayeon said, nearly stumbling over her words. We can't. We have to leave in 2 days, Ji Sehun said. That's why you should stop by, his mother insisted, smiling. We're busy, he said, looking away tiredly. How busy? She asked. Can't you see? We're dating, he said, holding Hayeon's hand to show her. We have to go home so you can try on all the things we bought, he thought as Hayeon glared at him. He was silent for a moment before turning his face. Fine. We'll go. Don't look at me like that, he said. So you'll come? Park Seona asked. Of course. Just let me know the time, and I'll make sure to bring Sehun, Hayeon replied. Sounds good. I'll see you two later, she said, standing up. Yes, We'll see you soon, Hayeon said, bowing while Ji Sehun remained standing, looking away from his mother. Hayeon poked him gently. He let out a sigh before bowing. See you at 6. No need to bring anything, his mother said, smiling as she left. At 6, they arrived at Ji Sehun's parents' house. Sehun? Hayeon asked. What? He replied. What are your parents like? She asked, as they approached the building. They're just my parents, he replied casually, not looking at her. Could you maybe be considerate of me and elaborate? She asked. They're busy. All the time. My sister and brother are both married. We don't really talk, he said. Inwardly, he wanted to tell her that his parents had always been busy with their business since before he was born. His siblings and he had been raised by them, but they all led their lives separately. He went overseas at an early age, so he had lived away from the family for quite some time. He considered his home a household accustomed to reporting life rather than getting involved. Is that enough? He asked Hayeon. No, not at all, she said. Let's just leave after half an hour, he said, rubbing her cheeks lightly before continuing to walk. Wait, she said, tugging on his shirt, halting him. Sehun, do I look okay? She asked. 20 minutes, he said, looking a little flushed. She replied, looking unsure. Half an hour is too long. Let's do 20 minutes, he said, holding her hand. Just then, his mother stepped outside from the door, welcoming them. Did you drive, Sehun? She asked politely. Why do you ask? You were probably already watching us from here, he replied. Your brother and sister are here too, she said. They have that much time on their hands, he said harshly. Hayeon jabbed him calmly with her shoulder. I'm glad to see you again. Thank you so much for inviting me, she said, bowing to his mother. Is there any kind of food you don't eat, Hayeon? Park Seona asked calmly. Hayeon was surprised she called her by her name. No. I like pretty much everything, she said, her face flushed. That's good to hear. Come on in, Park Seona said, leading them inside. Honey, Hayeon is here, she announced softly as they entered the sitting room. Ji Sehun's father got up from the couch to welcome them. Ah, so you're Hayeon, he said, smiling. Ah, yes. My name is Kim Hayeon. It's nice to meet you, she replied quickly, bowing. Seon and Seokyeon, come say hello, he called. Hi, I'm Seon, said the older sibling. I'm Seokyeon, the second sibling said. Seon is our oldest. Seokyeon is the second, their father said, introducing them to Hayeon. I'm Kim Hayeon. It's really nice to meet you all, Hayeon said, bowing. Are we good, then? Park Seona asked. I'm sorry. Hayeon replied. Unsure. Let's go eat, Park Seona said. Hayeon gulped hard, her cheeks flushed as she looked at the family. Hayeon entered the dining room, expecting it to be filled with food, but the table was simple and modest. Ji Sehun helped her take a seat. We didn't want to overwhelm you, so we kept it simple, Park Seona explained. Looks like it, Ji Sehun replied. Hayeon thought to herself, I didn't know we'd end up having dinner. Enjoy, Ji Sehun's father said kindly. Oh, yes. Thank you, it looks lovely, Hayeon replied with a smile. As she started to eat, she could feel the family's eyes on her, watching closely. It made her feel tense. That's overwhelming, she thought, letting out a soft, awkward cough. Is it not very good? Seokyeon asked, concerned. Oh, no. It's delicious. Hayeon said quickly. Here. Ji Sehun added more food to her plate. Sehun, I can do it myself, she said, a little tense. How sweet. Looks like you're treating her well, Ji Sehun's parents remarked. Hayeon, Seon called softly. Yes. Hayeon replied, startled. Ms. Ji, just call me Seon, she said with a gentle smile. How about some wine? Hayeon nodded quickly, stretching her glass out, a bit tense. Oh, yes, sure. You can leave the glass on the table, the butler beside her said gently, calming her as he poured wine into her glass. Ah, right, she replied, a little embarrassed. Seon smiled at her, which made Hayeon feel even more tense, her face flushed with embarrassment. Ji Sehun noticed her discomfort and gently cupped her face. Look at me, he said, turning her face to meet his gaze. Sehun, your family is right here, she whispered, trying to hide her flushed face. Tone it down. They know that we're dating, though, he said, matter of fact. Still, we're in the middle of dinner, she said, a little embarrassed. Ji Sehun flinched and glared at his siblings. We're leaving right after dinner, he announced sharply. We have dessert, too, his mother said. No, thanks, he deflected, clearly not interested. Hayeon might like it, she added. Yes, I would, Hayeon said, her face lighting up. We'll stay for dessert. She lifted her glass and wore a soft, almost sad smile as she gazed at the family. The food really is delicious, she said, sensing their eyes still on her. I can see where Sehun gets his good looks, Ji Sehun's father commented. Hayeon felt her face flush and cleared her throat before continuing. Oh, I forgot to tell you more about me. Of course, you've heard my name. I'll be 26 this year, so Sehun and I, her voice trailed off. We heard from Ms. Lee, Park Seona said. Sehun and I first met at the Seoul Cultural Center. I was supposed to be his short-term manager, but Sehun made me a good offer. It might be too late to start something new, but I wanted to see if this was the right path for me, which is why I decided to go with him, Hayeon explained. I won't stop you from going with him, Park Seona replied calmly. Hayeon thought, since she mentioned that she heard everything from Sehun's assistant, I assumed she would tell me to break up with him. You should always hold on to your man, Park Seona added, her tone steady. I'm sorry. Hayeon asked, a bit puzzled. You're doing very well, Park Seona said, offering a reassuring smile. Are you allowing us to see each other because we get along well? Hayeon asked, her voice filled with curiosity. What do you mean, allow? It's up to us, Ji Sehun replied, turning to her. You'll do as you see fit, his mother said kindly. Hayeon looked at them, surprised and a little confused. None of this is what I expected, she thought, feeling a sense of disbelief. Now that I think of it, Sehun playing the cello is kind of out of place, too. A family like his would want Sehun to take over the family business, but they've supported his talent since he was a little boy, raising him to be who he is today. They respect and support the decisions Sehun makes. They're an exceptional family. It's like there are 4 more Ji Sehuns. Don't worry. I will do my best to help take care of Sehun so that he can play under the best conditions, Hayeon said boldly. I'm sure you will, his mother replied, a warm smile on her face. Now I understand why Sehun isn't that expressive and only thinks of himself. Benignly expressive isn't the only form of love. This was love, too, Hayeon thought. It will take some effort, but I will do whatever it takes to help Sehun start socializing with other people. I'll also help him find other interests aside from the cello, she told Park Seona confidently. She's very well spoken, Park Seona thought, impressed by Hayeon's words. I respect and support the decisions that Seon, Seo Kyeon, and Sehun each make. They never asked to be born, that was my choice, so it's the least I can do, Park Seona said. However, I must know one thing. When are you two planning to get married? Her voice turned serious. Married? Hayeon thought, her face flushed with surprise. She turned to Ji Sehun, unsure of how to respond. We'll see, he said calmly. Wait, Sehun. What do you mean? Hayeon asked, her voice a little shaky. Were we not going to get married? He asked. Do you know how old you are? Hayeon asked. What does that matter? He replied. Well, normally. I mean, we still have time, so let's see how things go and talk about it later, she said, trying to calm herself. It's been a while since I made up my mind. I mean, it won't be right away, he added. Hayeon's face flushed again. I'm sorry, but we don't have any plans to get married just yet, she announced. Isn't that a wedding ring? Ji Sehun's father asked, noticing the ring on Hayeon's hand. Oh. No, it isn't. This is just a promise ring, sir, Hayeon explained calmly. Why would you get a promise ring instead of a wedding ring? His father asked, his gaze serious. Don't worry about it, Ji Sehun said coldly. We're still pretty young, and we still have a lot of things to do first. I'm grateful that you think of me that way, but I'd like to just focus on having a good relationship for now, Hayeon explained, trying to ease the tension. Sehun still needs a lot of work, doesn't he? Seon asked, looking at Hayeon. No, not at all, Hayeon said with a smile. He's a great person, and he's actually pretty considerate of me. He always makes sure that I feel loved. He's also the first person who's ever told me that I don't have any flaws. Even my parents never say anything like that to me. Sehun is like a gift to me. Ji Sehun's siblings exchanged a glance. Might as well set the date, his brother said calmly. Might as well set the date. Do it in May. That's the best time for an outdoor wedding, Seo Kyeon said. Hayeon tensed as she took a sip of her wine. Isn't it time for your assistant to get a raise? Park Seona asked. They work very hard with you, she added, glancing at Ji Sehun. Don't worry about it, Ji Sehun replied. I'll go over some things and adjust her salary, his mother said. Now I see it. They all seem indifferent on the outside, but I can see how much they care about each other. It's nice to see, Hayeon thought, smiling inwardly. I noticed Sehun has very acute senses, not just with sound, Hayeon remarked. I'm not as sensitive in that way, but Sehun hears and feels everything. Right. I see, they murmured in agreement. Hayeon smiled. Ji Sehun checked his phone. Let's go now, he said, jumping up from his seat. What? Already? Hayeon asked, looking surprised. It's been exactly 2 hours, he said, walking toward the door. We'll be going, then. Thank you so much for inviting me to dinner tonight. I had such a good time, Hayeon said quickly, rising from her seat. For my new daughter-in-law, Park Seona said, smiling. Daughter-in-law? Hayeon thought, feeling unsure as Park Seona handed her a debit card. This feels so familiar, Hayeon thought, observing the gesture. Oh, that's really not necessary. I work now, and Sehun also buys me a lot of things, she told his mother. Use this to buy your wedding ring, Park Seona insisted. I thought we were done talking about that, Hayeon thought, feeling tense. I'll be getting that for her, Ji Sehun said coldly. I'll take care of it, his mother shot back. Okay, then, thank you. Hayeon said quickly, taking the card, her unease palpable as she sensed the tension between them. You can use it whenever you want. It doesn't have to be for the ring, his mother added. Yes. Thank you for being so considerate, Hayeon said warmly. We'll see you on the day of the flight, then. Oh, and Seon, it was really nice meeting you today, too. And Seo-kyeon, thank you so much for so graciously accepting me, she said quickly, bowing to them. Let's go already, Ji Sehun said, taking her hand as he walked quickly, leaving his parents' home. As they drove, Hayeon's mind recalled the exact moment during their vacation when Ji Sehun had offered her his debit card. She glanced at the card his mother had given her for a moment before bringing it closer. So this family expresses their love through money, she thought, smiling softly. What are you laughing at? Ji Sehun asked, noticing her expression. Huh? What's wrong? She asked, looking unsure. Don't be so friendly with guys, he told her, his tone a little sharp. Wait. He's mad because I was friendly toward his brother, Hayeon thought. And throw that away, he added, gesturing toward the card. Why? She asked. You gave my mom a card, he said. It's from your mom, so I'll be buying food and clothes for you with it, she replied. I already do all that for you, he insisted. Your mom just wants to know what you do, Sehun. You're always away overseas, she said softly. So what? He scoffed, focusing on his driving. Her intentions are so clear, but he doesn't see it, Hayeon thought. She prepared all your favorite foods today, didn't you notice? You're usually a picky eater when we're at home, but you enjoyed everything today. Remember when I told you I couldn't see that you actually cared for me? It was careless of me to say that, she said, her face flushing. Also, I didn't know you were thinking about marriage, she added, her voice softening. I like you, he told her. You have your own bright future ahead of you. But you still want to get married, she asked, her voice filled with surprise. I want to be with you for that, he said, smiling warmly. Still, it's too soon. If our relationship stays stable for a while, we can think about it then, she replied thoughtfully. When will that be? He asked, his curiosity piqued. Maybe in 2 years, she replied, trying to keep things light. Ji Sehun quickly slammed on the brakes, halting the car abruptly. Why 2 years? He asked, his tone serious. Hayeon held her chest in surprise, still startled from the sudden stop. Because I have to adjust to my work. You scared me, she said, her voice shaking slightly. What does that have to do with getting married? He asked, looking at her intently. Okay, then. 3 years, she suggested, trying to compromise. Why even longer? He asked, his brow furrowed. Depending on how you do, it might get shorter. Or you can just wait for 2 years and see. It'll pass by before you know it, she said, folding her hands in her lap. I'll make you change your mind. Just you wait, he said with determination, resuming the drive. Great, give it your best shot, she said, teasing him with a smile. Back at home, Hayeon hummed to the tune of a song as she undid her dress. Ji Sehun remained seated, watching her. Why are you in such a good mood? He asked, curious. Why wouldn't I be? I just met your parents, and they were so nice to me, she replied with a bright smile. How were they nice? He asked, still intrigued. They all gave me their undivided attention and really listened to me, she said, settling down and facing him. Try showing them half the affection you show me. You could call them up sometimes and tell them how much you appreciate them. Ji Sehun watched her calmly, his expression unreadable. Who knows, it might just reduce the weight, she teased with a playful smile. No, he said firmly, pulling her closer to him as she sat on his legs. I'm too busy giving you all my attention, he added, his voice low and warm as their gazes locked. They shared a brief kiss, the moment soft and intimate. Why did you lie earlier? He asked, his lips still close to hers. About what? She asked, her face flushed with warmth. You said your senses are dull, his flushed smile reflecting the teasing nature of his words. Only to you, Hayeon said, her voice soft, as she looked flushed while gently holding his face. Ji Sehun, calm but with a hint of flush, undid her shirt as she gently pulled at it. Do you want to take it off, or should we just go ahead? He asked. Which do you prefer? Tell me. Tell me before I do whatever I want, he added, his voice low. Hayeon stood up, carefully undoing her clothes. Ji Sehun smiled gently as he watched her. The next morning, Hayeon looked dazed as they stood in front of the apartment. Miss Kim, you look tired. Did you not get enough sleep? Ms. Lee asked, snapping her out of her thoughts. Oh, do I? She asked, her voice distracted. We're all set. Let's head out, Hyung-sik said. Yep. Anyway, you two are okay with the back seat, right? Ms. Lee asked. Yeah, it doesn't matter, Ji Sehun replied. They settled in the car as Hyung-sik drove them to the airport. Are you sleepy? Ji Sehun asked, noticing her rubbing her eyes. You didn't let me sleep, she whispered, looking slightly flushed. Oh, he replied. I kept my promise, Miss Kim, Ms. Lee said with a smile. I told you I'd give you a better job offer once the contract ends. Remember? Oh, right. Today is when the contract expires, Hayeon thought to herself. Do you know how difficult it is to go after both love and your career? Ms. Lee asked. Right? I still can't believe I get to have both. It's like I won the lottery, Hayeon said, her voice warm. It reminded her of what Gina had said. Do you know why people buy a lottery ticket every week? Gina had asked. Hayeon had replied, for luck. You could be that luck for him. Who knows? Gina had told her. She glanced at Ji Sehun. What? Want to hold hands? He asked. Should we? She replied coolly. They held hands for the rest of the trip. At the airport, they were met by their parents to bid them farewell. I hope my daughter isn't a burden for you guys, Hayeon's mother said. Not at all. We're just worried Sehun is going to wear Hayeon out, Park Seona said. You take good care of Hayeon, she warned, turning to Ji Sehun. I've got this, he replied seriously. I wasn't aware that the parents of the groom would be. Oh. My mistake. They're not even married yet. I apologize, Hayeon's mother said, looking tense as she spoke with Park Seona. Don't worry about it. They will be eventually, Park Seona said with a smile. Hayeon let out a tense laugh. Okay then, we'll be going now. Mom, Dad, thanks for coming all the way here to see me off, she said calmly. Just make sure to take care of yourself. That's what matters most, her mom told her. I know. Don't worry about that. You know I'm very healthy, Hayeon said. I'll take good care of her, Ji Sehun said, bowing to her parents. Hayeon noticed he didn't even say goodbye to his own parents. Mr. and Mrs. Ji, don't worry too much about Sehun, she said, turning to his parents. Yes, and thank you for looking after him. Please send my gratitude to his assistant and manager, they said warmly. I will. We'll get in touch when we arrive, Hayeon said, smiling. As they walked toward the tarmac, Hayeon asked, Sehun, how are you feeling? Good, he replied. Okay. Hold on to that good mood until we arrive, she told him. And if I do, he asked, his tone playful. If you do, I just might get out that lingerie we picked out together, she said, her face flushing. You push a hard deal. Get plenty of sleep on the plane. You'll be exhausted again when we get there, he advised. I wonder if it's hot in Germany, Hayeon mused. Yeah. And the days are long, he replied. Looks like someone is going to enjoy me sweating again, she teased. He rested his hand over her shoulder. I only like it because it's you, he said, kissing her head. Hayeon smiled warmly, watching him. In Germany, Hayeon stood in a room, watching Ji Sehun perform on the TV. He played beautifully, each string struck with precision as the conductor led them smoothly. The audience erupted in applause as Ji Sehun finished his piece. The conductor extended his hand to Ji Sehun, and they shook hands. Hayeon breathed a sigh of relief. How does it feel watching him perform in person? Ms. Lee asked. It's the best, Hayeon replied, smiling. Sehun is going to be here soon, Ms. Lee informed her. Okay, Hayeon replied, her mind still on the performance. I was worried that he didn't get enough practice since he'd barely touched his cello, but he was still amazing. I had nothing to worry about, she thought to herself. The door opened, and Ji Sehun entered. Sehun, you were amazing. Hayeon commended, beaming. He quickly pulled her to him, kissing her. I know, he said, breaking their kiss with a smirk on his face. From the room, Hayeon could still hear the applause from the audience. Don't you hear them cheering for you? Go, they're all waiting for you, she said, gently pushing him. He sighed but left, returning to the stage to continue his performance. The longer the applause, the more impressed the audience is, Ms. Lee explained. If it goes on after several bows, they usually play an encore on the fourth time. Hayeon walked past her, thinking about the connection between the performer and the audience. That's a kind gesture, she murmured, focusing on the TV as she watched his performance. The prelude from Bach's Cello Suite No. 1, Ms. Lee said. It's often regarded as one of the best pieces for a solo cello. At first, classical music had felt dull and difficult to Hayeon. But after paying closer attention and understanding it, she could feel the depth of the music. It's all thanks to Gi Hun, she thought, her mind drifting. The cello, they say, is the instrument closest to the human heart, its sound closest to the human voice. Maybe that's why it felt like Gi Hun was whispering to me, she reflected, her eyes closing briefly. When Gi Sehun returned to the room, Hayeon hugged him. You were amazing out there. I could only see you through the monitor, but you were even better than when you rehearsed. He held her closely, smiling. Let's go to the waiting room, he suggested, making her cheeks flush. We still have 40 minutes, she thought, following him. Call me 5 minutes before the end, Ji Sehun told Ms. Lee as they left for the waiting room. Inside, Ji Sehun closed the door behind them and turned to Hayeon, holding her face and kissing her. She moaned softly as they kissed before he pulled back. How was my performance? He asked. It was amazing, even though it was just the first one, she replied. He began unbuttoning her shirt, and Hayeon hesitated. I don't think we should do this here, she said, feeling tense. I was thinking of you when I played, he said, his words making her blush. Wait, it feels weird doing this here. What if someone comes in? She asked. Who would come into my waiting room? He replied, a slight smile on his face. I did, she said, looking down, uneasy. I locked the door, he reassured her, kissing her neck. The mood was shifting between them. But unknown to the couple, Hayeon was crouched behind a sofa in the waiting room, tense, sweat dripping from his brow. I was just setting up the room for Gi Hun, but when they started kissing, I instinctively hid, he thought, panicking. What do I do now? If I interrupt, he's going to kill me. As their breathing grew heavier, Hayeon realized he had no choice. Maybe it's best if I just show myself now. This is my only chance, he thought, still frozen in place. Ji Sehun led Hayeon to the sofa next to Hayeon, who immediately froze in fear. He quickly lay flat, trying to remain out of sight. Sehun, wait, don't take anything off, Hayeon said, feeling awkward. Why not? Ji Sehun asked, confused. It's awkward doing it here in your waiting room, she replied. Hayeon, silently panicking, thought, please, stop now. I'll take my clothes off too, Ji Sehun teased, but Hayeon quickly interrupted. No, please, no undressing. Hayeon prayed inwardly. No, I mean, Hayeon started, but Ji Sehun's next question made her even more uneasy. Where do you want me to kiss you? He asked softly. Why would you ask that? She replied, flustered. Wherever I want, he pressed, leaning in closer. Just don't take my pants off, Sehun, she pleaded softly. Okay, I'll just take mine off, Ji Sehun said, undoing his buttons and removing his belt. In that moment, he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. What are you doing there? He asked, stunned. Hayeon froze, realizing he had been caught. What's wrong? Hayeon asked, noticing the tension. Nothing. It was just a bug, Ji Sehun lied, trying to cover for the awkward situation. A bug. Hayeon thought, maybe I should just run away like one. A bug. Where? I'll get it for you, Hayeon offered, standing up to check. But as she stood, Ji Sehun quickly draped his jacket over her. Hayeon, startled, saw Hayeon crouching behind the sofa. Hayeon, she called out, blinking in disbelief. Haha, hello, Hayeon said, sheepishly rising from his hiding spot. Hayeon quickly noticed she was covered with Ji Sehun's jacket and frowned. I saw nothing. Hayeon blurted, eyes shut tight in embarrassment. Why do I keep digging my own grave? He thought. We're done here. Come and sit on the sofa, Hayeon said, helping Hayeon up. You could have just told us you were here, she added, trying to make him comfortable. I'm so sorry. I can't imagine how uncomfortable it must have been for you, she said sincerely, her eyes soft with concern, making his own tear up. Yes, I just wanted to stay alive, Hayeon thought, feeling the weight of his predicament. Well, I must have fallen asleep because the floor was so cool, he said awkwardly, glancing at Ji Sehun's piercing gaze. Is that so? Wouldn't a grave be cooler? Ji Sehun replied coldly, clearly not amused by the situation. It wasn't right for us to do that here in the first place, Ji Sehun continued, his tone hardening. Don't blame him. Hayeon snapped at Sehun. I told you we shouldn't, she added firmly, standing up for Hyungsik. She's sticking up for me. Hyungsik thought, touched by her defense. Stop scowling like that, she said to Sehun. Come here, let's get your shirt back on. Here, let me fix your bow tie too, now you get it. Hayeon said, fixing her suit. We can't do that in here. Do you want to go home? Ji Sehun asked Hyungsik, surprising him. If you're not careful, I could be the one going home, Hayeon said, still rattled by the situation. I understand you're in a good mood after your great performance out there, but let's just be careful, okay? I'm your manager. I need to take care of you as an artist too. You know that, right? You also need to focus when it's time to work. Okay. Sehun, is that too much to ask? Hayeon asked calmly, glancing between them. They shared a kiss, and then Hayeon asked softly, so, you're not mad anymore? I never was, Ji Sehun replied, his face flushed, a grin spreading across his face. So, you're not mad anymore? Hayeon asked, looking up at him. I never was, Ji Sehun replied, pulling her into a hug. Really? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Yup, he said, holding her closer. You looked pretty mad, she remarked. Nope, you're mistaken, he replied. It's just that I like you. It's hard to resist when you're like that, he added, causing her cheeks to turn red. Sehun, you do know what I mean, right? She asked. My heart is beating faster than when I perform, Ji Sehun thought. Yes, you like me a lot, he said aloud. Right, let's just control ourselves a bit, okay, she suggested. Just one more kiss, he said, leaning forward. Apologize to Hyungsik, too, she stopped him. Fine, he replied, his tone cool. Do it properly, she said, looking at him seriously. Hyungsik, don't sleep on the floor anymore. What if we can't find you when you're dead? Ji Sehun said, trying to force a smile. Right, Hyungsik said with a relieved laugh. Thank you for being concerned for me, Sehun. I'll be on my way, then. Bye, he said quickly, heading for the door. Oh, and Sehun, you remember we have your welcome dinner later, right? Hyungsik paused as he reached the door. Okay, Ji Sehun said, hugging Hayeon again, his glare sharp. No changing your mind right before, Hyungsik added. I said I'll be there, Ji Sehun insisted, annoyed. Don't worry, I've got it covered. He'll be there no matter what, Hayeon reassured Hyungsik. Okay, then. Hyungsik said, leaving the room. What did I tell you about your tone? Hayeon asked Ji Sehun. Just imagine how awkward it was for him because of us. Just think about me, Ji Sehun replied, releasing her from their hug. I am, Hayeon said, smiling. We're lucky he didn't see anything. Imagine if he had. I wouldn't let it slide, Ji Sehun responded quickly. Why would you blame him for that? It's your fault for trying to do anything here in the first place, she teased. He leaned in closer. I'm sorry. We can go home and do it, right? He asked calmly. You have a show tomorrow too. So no, she replied, pushing him gently, her face flushed. My back hurts from sleeping too early, he said, guiding one of her hands to his back. If you go to the dinner tonight, I'll consider it, she told him. I was going to go anyway, he said casually. Really? Hayeon asked, sounding excited. I have something to do there, he replied, adjusting his hair as he checked his reflection in the mirror. Hayeon watched him quietly. Later that evening, they arrived at the planned welcome dinner. Sehun, a man greeted with a smile as they stepped into the room. It's Jack Christophers, the promoter for this tour, Hayeon thought, recognizing him. Thank you so much for coming, Jack said warmly. It's nice to meet you. I'm Kim Hayeon, she introduced herself. Are you Sehun's manager? Jack asked. That's me, Hayeon replied, maintaining a calm smile. I'm a bit nervous being here without Jion and Hyungsik, she thought. So, Sehun is back with another member added to his family. I look forward to working with you. This Europe tour is going to be a pretty taxing one, Jack said with a smile. I heard he's been planning this tour for a whole year, Hayeon thought, still silent as she watched him. I'll do my best to be a reliable support. If there are any issues related to Gi Hun, please just let me know, Hayeon said. If there were an issue, it would be that the music critics were all so moved by Gi Hun's performance today. I think you can expect a good review in the daily paper tomorrow. Gi Hun, how do you feel about it? Jack asked. Gi Hun reached out his hand for a handshake, and Jack shook it with a grin. Why don't we take a seat? I have a lot I want to discuss with you. Right this way, Jack said, leading them to a more private room. Inside, they saw a man seated. Ah, the star of today's event has arrived. Welcome, he said. It's Chris Schumann, the conductor of the Berlin Philharmonic. Born in Germany, served as director twice for well-known orchestras, Hayeon thought, recalling his name from her memorized study. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm Kim Hayeon, Gi Hun's manager, she introduced herself as they took their seats. Ah yes, I'm aware. I believe we've met a few times, no? Chris asked. Yes, we have. I'm honored that you remember, she replied. It seems it hasn't been long since you started working as Gi Hun's manager, Chris remarked. Yes, it's only been. She started before Gi Hun interrupted her, glancing over the menu. What do you want to eat? He asked her. I don't mind. Just order whatever you're having, she replied. We're ready to order, Gi Hun said, waving at the waiter. Anyway, I met Gi Hun at the recital in South Korea and ended up joining his team. Hayeon continued with a smile, resuming her conversation with Chris. I see. I heard the recent recital in Korea was quite a success as well, Chris said, smiling. Maybe it's because I know how amazing these people are, but I can feel a certain aura even when they're dressed in street clothes, she thought, her mind drifting. Even about Gi Hun, who I'm with every day, she blushed inwardly. Don't be nervous, Gi Hun said, placing a napkin over her dress. Is it that obvious that I'm nervous? She thought. He doesn't seem nervous at all. Well, after all, he's been working with the greatest in the industry since he was little. I should just trust him and not be nervous either, she thought. It was such an honor to see such well-refined conducting today. In my personal opinion, it was simply amazing, she said, sounding calm. What did you like in particular? Chris asked. Not sure how this might sound, but it felt like seeing a spectacular fountain show, Hayeon replied. A fountain show? Chris asked, intrigued. Yes. The concept of leading something you can't see is what reminded me of it. It was as though you calmed all the water streams and, with a hand gesture, you stirred them up again. Then all the members let their abilities explode together at the climax, which really resembled one big fountain show. If it hadn't been for your conducting, I would have never known this feeling, she added, her voice filled with appreciation. You don't seem to have majored in music, though, Jack said, studying her closely. I didn't, but I've learned a lot and am still learning from Gi Hun, she said. Well, it's never too late. I just asked because it was a refreshing take you don't really hear from people in the industry, Jack remarked. I agree, Chris added. They usually express it by saying it was either intense or soft, la la la, that sort of thing, causing Hayeon to stifle a laugh, covering her mouth as her cheeks flushed. That's exactly it, she said, laughing quietly. It's pretty simple. You have quite the entertaining manager, Gi Hun, they remarked, laughing. Not saying a word, Gi Hun wore a calm gaze as he watched Hayeon, his expression unreadable but his eyes softening as he observed her. Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell. Your comments mean the world to us and help us improve. The next episode promises even more excitement and unexpected twists, so stay tuned as we embark on this thrilling journey together. Keep the anticipation alive and we'll catch you in the next episode.